If you've ever dreamed of visiting the Eiffel Tower or experiencing French culture or exploring the whole of Europe, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, how are you doing today? On this video, we're going to be talking about how to apply for a Schengen visa using France as case study. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I do appreciate the loyalty. And if you're a first timer and you're just stopping by, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Zuri, and on this channel, we basically discuss travel tips, immigration tips, as well as foreign opportunities. So if this is something that you're interested in, please smash the subscribe button. And if you're feeling generous, you can share this channel with 1 or 2 people that you're sure would be interested in the kind of content that I curate on this channel. All right, so let's go into it. Now, I know that you might not have watched this video that I'm about to talk about, but I already created a video talking about the easiest Schengen countries for Nigerians to apply for a visa. So if you are one of those who have not watched that video yet, I'm going to link it in the description below. Please go watch that video. And when I created that video, I talked about France being the very first country, okay, the easiest country so far, okay, for Nigerians to actually apply for a visa. Not just Nigerians, but Africans in general, okay, but then I used Nigeria as my focus because I'm a Nigerian. All right, so go watch that video. Let's start with a quick reminder of what a Schengen visa is. I have my laptop here as usual, and I have points that I have written down, okay, so I don't forget anything. Now, a Schengen visa is a visa that allows you to tour over 27 European countries in this region, okay? So once you have a visa to one Schengen country, you can use that visa to move around the other Schengen countries, and that is why a lot of people really like to apply for a Schengen visa. And so whether it is for tourism, for a business trip, or for family visits, you can apply for a Schengen visa and you can freely tour these countries for up to 180-day period. So let's quickly look at the step-by-step guide to apply for a French Schengen visa. And the step 1 I talked about here is to determine the type of visa that you need. France offers a wide range of visas. Even when it comes to visit visas, there are a wide range of visas that you need to understand and explore, and you need to understand each of the uses. Now, the very first one, which is one that a lot of people apply for, is the tourist visa, okay, and that is if you're visiting France just for leisure. The second one is the business visa. That is for those attempting to go for conferences or business related travel, okay. That is the visa type that you should be applying for. The third type of visit visa is the family visit visa. Now, this one is not, it's basically a combination of leisure and to visit relatives in France, okay. So it's like a combination of the tourist and the family visit visa, because of course if you're visiting family, you will definitely move around with your family members, right? And so make sure that you're applying for the right visa type, because this will determine the supporting documents that you need. For example, if you're going on a visit visa for business, that is, you're getting a business visit visa, you will need a different set of documents from people that are going for a family visit visa, or even those that are going for a normal tourist visa, okay. So make sure you know what visa you are applying for. Now, the next step, the step 2, is to book an appointment, okay. We are going to talk about the documents that you need, all right, but then you also need to book an appointment at the visa center. Now, for Nigerians, it's either you would go for your biometrics in Abuja or you go for your biometrics in Lagos, okay. So please go on the TLS portal and book your appointment, okay, for your submission. The French embassy as of 2024 do not do visa interviews, okay. They only allow you to come for your biometrics. So just go and book your application to submit your documents and to get your biometrics done. In order for you to do this, you need to visit the site online and then book an appointment, okay. You would be opened up to a calendar where you can select your appointment date, and you can also select your preferred location. Now let's go to the next one, which for me is the most critical step in your application, because this particular step determines a whole lot in your application, okay. That's why I'm saying this is the most critical step in your application process, okay, and that is preparing of your documents, okay. Preparing your documentation is one of as a matter of fact, is the most important step as far as I'm concerned. Aside from filling your application form, your documentation has to be on point. When I talked about the easiest Schengen countries to go to, I gave you a tip that when you're applying for a Schengen visa, you need to make sure that your documentation is on point. So we're going to be talking about the documents that you need. The very first one is that you need to have your completed visa application form. That is very essential, okay? You go online and you fill the application form. The next one is that you have to have your passport photographs, okay? Now, one interesting tip about the passport photos is that you have to ensure that your passport photo meets the exact specification, preferably white background, colored passport photo. But make sure you go online to check and ensure that your passport photo meets the exact specification given by the French embassy, okay? Now, the next one I wrote here is that you have to have a valid passport. And when I say valid passport, I don't just mean let your passport be valid. No, let your passport not just be valid, but be valid for over 3 months beyond your intended stay period in France or in the Schengen area. So if you intend to stay for maybe 6 months in France or in the Schengen area, or 3 months, make sure that your passport is valid for 3 months beyond the time of your stay, okay? And also you have to have at least 2 blank pages for stamping on your passport. Now let's go ahead to talk about your proof of travel insurance, okay? It is extremely important. You can check online to see some insurance platforms where you can get an insurance policy that covers for emergencies, medical emergencies, and so on and so forth, okay? And this insurance has to be valid for the entire Schengen zone, preferably, okay? It has to be valid for the entire Schengen zone. Another document that is very important is your flight reservation, okay? A round-trip flight reservation. You don't necessarily have to buy a round-trip ticket, okay? But you need to book a flight reservation. It is extremely important to take it along for your visa application. Now, the next one I wrote down here is subjective, okay? And it is your proof of accommodation. Now, if you're going for a normal tourist visa for leisure, you need to have a hotel booking, okay? You need to have a hotel booking. And if you're going for a family visit, you need to show proof that the host is going to host you. Okay, you need to show proof that the family member is going to host you. Don't just wake up and say, oh, I'm going to visit my brother, and your brother hasn't written an invitation letter for you or given proof that he is hosting you in his house. Okay, you have to have proof. Likewise, if you're going for a business conference and maybe they are going to be hosting you in a hotel, they need to send you proof that your hotel has been booked, okay? This is very important so that you don't make the visa officer think that you're trying to stay under the bridge when you come to his country, okay? Now let's go ahead to the next one, which is your proof of financial means. Now this is very important. You need to show that you can support yourself when you are in France or in the Schengen region. Don't just wake up and decide to go and say, oh, they understand that I'm going to go and come back. No, you have to show proof that you are taking care of yourself and that you're capable of taking care of yourself when you're in this country. You can use your pay slip, you can use maybe a sponsorship letter, you can use your bank statement to show that you're able to take care of yourself in this country. Before I go on, let me talk a bit about proof of funds, okay? That is your proof of financial means. A lot of people think that your proof of financial means is just to have a whole lot of money, several millions in your account. No, it doesn't necessarily work like that. You need to have adequate money in your account, but then there are other things that you have to be mindful of when you are showing your proof of funds. And because of that, I have put together a video talking about proof of funds and talking about little mistakes that we make when showing our proof of funds. And this is one of the reasons, proof of funds is one of the reasons why a lot of people get denied visas lately, okay? And I wouldn't want you to be a part of them. So please, before you apply for any visa whatsoever, go and watch that video on proof of funds, because I broke down a lot of mistakes that we make, and I also talked about how to show your proof of funds. That video is going to help you, so please go watch it. I'm going to link it in the description below. If somebody else is sponsoring your trip, you need to have a sponsorship letter. Maybe it's your relative, your dad or your mom or your uncle or auntie or your cousin. Have a sponsorship letter. If it is your host sponsoring your visit, also have a letter where your host confirms that he or she is sponsoring your visit. Okay, now let's go to the next one. The next one is something I normally tell people to write, and that is a cover letter. This letter is supposed to introduce you and explain your travel purpose, okay, and not just to explain your travel purpose, but also to talk about your itinerary when you visit France. Okay, explaining your itinerary is extremely important. That is, while you're in France, the things that you're going to do, you need to explain it in that cover letter or your statement of purpose, what you're going to be doing when you visit France. As much as possible, you need to explain. Now, the next one I have down here is employment documents. Now, this is extremely important because it is one of the ways of showing your proof of ties to your country. It's one of the ways of showing the visa officer that, look, I still have a job back home, and so I am not going to stay in your country for so long. I'm not going to stay in the Schengen region for too long because I have something doing back home. And if possible, you can even get somebody, maybe your employer or somebody, to write a letter showing your leave approval, that you have been approved to travel to so country and that you're coming back, and probably a recommendation letter from the person also. If you are a business owner, you need to show your CAC documents, okay, your registration documents, to prove that you are actually a business owner. And in most cases, you need to show your tax returns as well. All right, now let's go to the next one. We talked about your proof of ties in Nigeria. Like I mentioned before, you have to show that you have reasons to come back to your country. It could be a job, it could be your family connections or your family documents, it could be property documents, it could be a business that you have. You need to show proof. Now, I don't want to give the whole list here talking about how to show your proof of ties. I have already created a video for you talking about how to show your proof of ties, the documentation that you can use to prove that you are coming back to your country after your visit in the Schengen region. And so I'm going to drop the link in the description box as well. Please go watch that video talking about proof of ties. It is extremely important before you apply for a visa. Now that we are done dealing with the documents needed for your application, let's go ahead. After you have prepared your documents for your appointment, the next thing that you need to do is to attend the appointment. Now, when attending the appointment, make sure that you bring along all these documents that I have mentioned. Okay, it is very important and crucial that you bring along all these documents. The staff at the visa center would collect your biometric data, that is your photo and your fingerprints, when you are submitting your documents. They are also going to review your documents to ensure that they are complete. Okay, now let's go ahead to talk about your visa fees. The standard visa fee for a Schengen visa is about 80 euros. Okay, so before you go ahead to pay your visa fee, make sure you check to ensure that you have enough funds to cover this at the visa center. Okay, so that is it. Make sure you pay your visa fees. The next step is to wait for your visa decision. This takes between 15 days to a couple of weeks, okay, typically. So make sure that you are patient, and that's why I normally advise people, make sure that you apply for your visa way ahead of time, if possible about 3 months before your travel time, because you don't know when exactly your visa will be out. So it's better to apply way ahead of time, if possible about 3 months before your intended travel date. Okay, so please make sure that you have all of these in mind. Now, even though I said it will take a few weeks, during peak periods, like mostly holiday periods, just before a holiday period, it might take longer. Okay, so that's why I'm saying apply for it way ahead of time, and you will be notified when your passport is ready for collection at the visa center. Okay, now let's go ahead to talk about some common mistakes that you need to avoid when you are applying for a Schengen visa or a France visa. Okay, the first one is incomplete documentation. Please, I cannot overflow the issue. Ensure that your documentation is complete when you are applying for a visa to France or the Schengen region. Okay, the next one I wrote here is your lack of travel history. This is extremely important. I know that some of you do not have travel history, but for those that have travel history, you have an edge over those who do not have a travel history. What a travel history does for you is that it assures the visa officer that you are a genuine traveler, especially if you have not overstayed in any of these countries that you have gone to. Okay, and so if you have travel history, that's very good. But if you do not have a travel history and you're wondering, where do I start from? How do I grow my travel history right now? I can help you out with that, and I have actually put together a video talking about how to grow your travel history, as well as how to use your travel history to your advantage, whether it is for travel or for professional means or in your career. I have talked about it, so please go watch that video on travel history. It's extremely important. Okay, now the next one I wrote here is your last minute applications. A lot of people, okay, I know that sometimes I can be like that, okay, the kind of people that work under pressure, that work better under pressure. So some people will be like, oh, I work better under pressure when it's about 2 or 3 days to my submission time. That is when I start my application. No, please do not do that when it comes to visa applications, because if you rush it, then you might make a mistake and miss something out. Okay, so take your time to apply for a visa. Okay, I feel like it is well worth it because it allows for you to have space to check, to cross your T's and dot your I's and check everything. Okay, so please do not make any last minute application. Make sure you have gone through all the details of your application before you go on. Okay, now your application should be submitted at least 4 to 6 weeks before your travel date. Personally, I think you should submit like 3 months ahead, but it's up to you. I know that you already know why France is an amazing destination to visit. I don't have to overflog the issue. Number one, the cultural experience is going to be amazing. France has a lot of delicious cuisine. Trust me, you will never have enough. Okay, and the third one is that France is a gateway to other Schengen countries. If you go through France, you can go to other countries like Poland, like Germany, like Greece. I think France to Poland is about 2 hours and a few minutes by flight and about 14 minutes through train. You can take the option that you want, whether by flight or by train, depending on what you want to experience. Okay, the kind of experience that you want to have. Okay, and that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. If you liked the content of this video, please give me a thumbs up and I will totally appreciate that. When you give me a like, it helps for YouTube to show my video to other people that might be interested in the content. And if you're still feeling generous, you can share this video with 1 or 2 people that you know would be interested in travel or in visiting the Schengen region. And also, if you want to have a chat with me concerning your application, maybe you're on an application and you need some guidance or you need some advice, my link is in the description below. Just click on that link and I will be expecting to chat with you. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I really do appreciate you. Till I see you in another video, stay safe and keep traveling.